But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see the Shedeur Sanders be the guy, or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not.
In an on-air explosion that will be replayed for years, Michael Irvin just went absolutely nuclear, and his target was none other than Rex Ryan. Let's just say that Rex picked the absolute wrong day to once again test the patience of anyone who believes in Shedeur Sanders. 1 second, Rex Ryan was sitting there, masquerading as an expert analyst, and the very next, Michael Irvin was verbally dismantling him and handing him his own ego on a silver platter. This was not a debate, it was a complete and total public demolition. But what exactly did Rex Ryan say that caused the playmaker himself to finally snap like that? Oh, you are going to love this one. So buckle up, because this entire on-air meltdown gets wild.
This was out of line in saying the things he said. He's not in those meeting rooms. He doesn't know if Shedeur's sitting on the front row or not. If he said, I got sources saying this kid don't study, this kid's in the back of the room acting, then you say something. You say something. But don't just say those things because you want to sound bite and you want to go viral and talk about what this kid's not doing. I mean, Rex,
Rex Ryan probably woke up that morning thinking it was just going to be another routine, predictable day at the studio. He'd have his coffee, he'd get in front of the camera, he'd deliver a few loud takes, and he'd throw in some of his signature dramatic hand gestures about the game of football. But what he clearly did not know was that he was about to willingly step into the high-speed verbal blender that is Michael Irvin, and that he was going to come out the other side looking like a sad leftover watery smoothie.
And I'm baffled. I'm baffled. If he said anything else, we would jump on it and be all over him like, well, how come you don't have any confidence? That's why you're not playing. So each man, every man that's not on the football field, every man in the National Football League has to believe that he is good enough to play in the National Football League, to even be in the league. So anything else that comes from him, I would be shocked. Anything outside of, yes, I'm looking around, I'm seeing, and absolutely, I can play in this league.
The kid had just delivered yet another clutch, game-defining play, and instead of just celebrating with a simple boring nod or a handshake like some over-the-hill veteran, he immediately broke out his now viral miming move. That slow, confident, I'm built different gesture, the very one that instantly and reliably sends all of the rival fans into a complete and total frothing at the mouth meltdown.
This might be the backpedal of the century. I don't know what made you have a change of heart. Could it be that the whole world called you out because you lied?
Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows.
And then now all of a sudden, you want to see him on the field. And he has so much talent. And he's being treated so unfairly. And the locker room is toxic. And no one knows what they're doing on the Browns. Just a week ago, he was a bratty kid that just had his arms folded and was just like, I should be playing. I wonder why everybody is switching up so much. Could it be Dylan Gabriel's not that good?
And then right on cue, the internet did exactly what it always does. Half of the online crowd immediately praised it as pure, unadulterated swagger, while the other half reacted as if Shedeur had just personally burned down the entire Hall of Fame. And it was at that exact moment that Rex Ryan, the self-appointed guardian of all football morality, decided to enter the chat. He looked at the clip, and he immediately decided that it was time for him to lecture an entire generation about the supposed virtues of humility, of respect, and of the lost art of acting like you've been there before.
When I have a little beef to pick with Rex Ryan after what he said about Shedeur Sanders, he is in no position to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Okay, Rex Ryan has now had multiple chances to be successful in the NFL, and he blew it. He should have been in the film room longer. He is the laughingstock. Okay, when he was with the New York Jets, his entire career was marked by the butt fumble. And then he comes with the Bills, he comes in, says he's going to win the Super Bowl, tries to get the entire city behind him, and he absolutely flopped on his face. Rex Ryan, you are a clown. Shedeur Sanders is a better man than you, so don't ever talk about him again.
But then came Michael Irvin, and when Michael Irvin heard Rex Ryan talking like that, something inside of him just snapped. It was like a veteran Hall of Fame linebacker hearing a rookie call his lifelong nickname cute. Irvin didn't just disagree with Rex, he completely and utterly erupted. This was not a rebuttal, this was a public execution delivered with a raw passion, a righteous fire, and a verbal mic drop that could have likely powered the entire AT&T Stadium scoreboard for a week. Because to Michael Irvin, Shedeur Sanders is not just another quarterback, he is the new thumping heartbeat of college football swagger. He is his father's son, he is part highlight reel and part headline. And Michael Irvin saw Rex Ryan's comments not as a simple criticism, but as a direct challenge to the entire modern idea that young exciting players should ever have to tone it down. And that is where the on-air storm truly began. Rex Ryan, bless his heart, desperately tried to defend his outdated position. He started pulling out all of the old school get off my lawn football wisdom, talking about respect for the game, about discipline, and about the one singular right way to play. But Michael Irvin was not having any of it. He completely transformed into the football equivalent of a fiery preacher who is in full sermon mode, the kind of preacher who does not just talk, he testifies. And the more Rex spoke, the more Irvin transformed. 1 second, he was calmly listening, and the next, Rex was trying to out-yell Michael Irvin, which is the broadcast equivalent of trying to outdance Usher while you are wearing a pair of flip-flops. Every single time Rex said something, Irvin came right back at him with 10 times the passion, 10 times the volume, and somehow 10 times the logic. It was pure beautiful chaos with a cause.
Rex Ryan, when I got aware, I did the homework on him a long time ago though, and because he was always loud as the Jets coach, and he's always predicted that they was gonna go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Every year, this is the year we're gonna do it. This is the year we're gonna do it. This is the year we're gonna do it. And you just brought that up, Mike, in your take. Nigga, you loud, Rex. As a coach, you're loud as a coach, and especially as a commentator, you're very loud and you take bold takes. So when Mace asks, was it clout chasing? I don't think it's clout chasing, it's just...
And here is the critical twist in this entire on-air meltdown. Michael Irvin wasn't just defending Shedeur for the sake of the show. He was defending an entire era. He was defending every single young player who dares to have a personality in a league that still, to this day, often treats any form of celebration like it is a federal crime. Because let's be brutally honest here, the sport of football has always had its glaring and hypocritical double standards. When Tom Brady screams and pumps his fist, it is called competitive fire. But when Shedeur Sanders mimes his watch, it is called cocky. Funny how that works, isn't it? And Michael Irvin saw right through all of that nonsense immediately. He saw a young man who was not just carrying a football, but an entire family legacy, being criticized for being confident in a way that the old guard simply does not understand. Every single one of Irvin's words hit harder than the last. Every single one of his lines had that unmistakable, I actually played this game, you just talked about it, energy. And then came the absolute knockout moment. Michael Irvin hit Rex Ryan with the ultimate reality check. He powerfully reminded everyone in that studio, and everyone who was watching at home, that confidence is not disrespect, it is fuel. It is the very thing that turns good players into legends. Shedeur Sanders does not need to act like he has been there before, because in a very real and tangible way he has. He was practically raised there. The Sanders family, after all, practically owns the metaphorical end zone.
And you did all those things, but you never brought home a ring. I mean, we can all say, get your ass up front and go get one of the rings. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't do that. So come on, man. That's what I have a problem with. I never heard him say, listen, I got great sources inside that organization that says he's sitting at the back of the room, he's playing around, and then he comes out here and crosses the hand and say he should play quarterback. Then you got something. You got something. But to say that without saying I got great sources means that's just your thought of what's going on. There's no fact in it whatsoever. And that's the issue.
So Mike, this football conversation is a little bit above me at this point because you and Rex have done it.
And within a matter of minutes, the clips of Michael Irvin's passionate on-air rant were absolutely everywhere. Memes were being born in real time. The fans were cheering, with many of them saying that Michael Irvin had just single-handedly and permanently ended the entire debate. Others were busy tagging Rex Ryan, practically begging him to just log off for the rest of the day. It was a moment of glorious, beautiful digital chaos. But lurking just beneath all of the laughs and all of the memes, there was a real, undeniable truth that was shining through. Michael Irvin was not just defending Shedeur, he was standing up for the very evolution of the game itself, because the NFL and the sport of football in general has always thrived on raw, unadulterated personality. And this is the very same Rex Ryan who had once made his own headlines for his wild and often unpredictable sideline antics, for his fiery motivational speeches, and let's just say, for his own creative media moments. The sheer breathtaking irony of the situation could have likely powered an entire stadium's jumbotron for a week. It is like a rock star criticizing someone else for being too loud. Rex was now demanding a calm, buttoned-up professionalism, and yet his entire coaching career had been built on a foundation of raw energy and pure unbridled emotion. And Michael Irvin had just pointed out that glaring, hypocritical contradiction. And he did it in a way that only Michael Irvin could, with an unstoppable, almost infectious enthusiasm and a beautiful, chaotic touch of his own. By the time that Michael Irvin had finally finished his sermon, Rex Ryan looked as if he was in desperate need of a timeout. You could almost hear his brain just buffering, as he was desperately trying to process how his one simple, old-school take had just been completely and utterly transformed into a motivational TED Talk that had been mixed with a full-blown locker room revival.
Is Shedeur really responding to something that Rex Ryan would say on ESPN? That's something Dion would do. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
I buy it. That's what they do.
It's something Shedeur would do.
Yes. And, remaining the third string QB, I mean, maybe the best thing he could do is not say anything, but still be a part of the headline.
So I love this from Shedeur. Okay, I have no problem. I think Cleveland Brown, Shedeur Sanders, has not really been annoying to me or anything. I think that was fun. That was funny. I got no issue with that. I like.
But Michael Irvin was not done. He just kept on building his case, powerfully reminding everyone that Shedeur Sanders is currently playing under a level of intense, almost suffocating pressure that most NFL veterans will never have to experience in their entire careers. Every single move he makes, every gesture, every single tweet instantly becomes a national headline. So if miming a watch is what helps him to focus, to celebrate, or to simply block out all of that external noise, then by all means let the man mime. That is what makes Shedeur so special. He is not just out there playing for simple stats. He is performing for the entire culture. Every single play he makes is a statement, and every single celebration is a response. He is no longer just the son of Deion Sanders. He is now in the process of building his own unique mythology, one confident and calculated move at a time. And Michael Irvin understood that immediately. Some of the people in the studio were amused, others were terrified, and one poor camera operator was probably just praying that his microphone would not explode from the sheer unadulterated volume of Michael Irvin's voice. Because when Michael Irvin gets rolling, it is less like an argument and more like a motivational concert. You don't just listen to it, you experience it. Meanwhile, the internet continued to feast on the chaos. The fans were clipping every single glorious moment, and they were adding captions like, "Irvin is preaching the gospel, and Rex didn't stand a chance." And Shedeur Sanders himself, he did not even have to respond, because Michael Irvin had already done it for him.
That was a question that was asked of him. So if he had called a press conference, out of the blue and stood up there and said, "I'm calling this press conference because I've seen quarterback play in the NFL and I'm better than them." Now that's a different thing. You see what I'm saying? That's a different thing. Oh, you called a press conference to do that? Then we're saying something. But he's answering questions. And if he doesn't answer the question, you think you're too good to answer questions. I'm over that, man.
How else could he have answered that question, though?
And honestly, that is the true unadulterated beauty of this entire chaotic situation. Michael Irvin saw Shedeur being criticized not for any kind of bad behavior, but simply for having a personality. And he immediately stepped in like a big brother who just happens to have a bullhorn. Because deep down, Michael Irvin knows that the game of football is constantly evolving. The legends of old may have built the foundation, but it is the Shedeur's, the new wave of talent that bring the kind of showmanship that keeps the fans glued to their screens. And without that raw, unapologetic confidence, the sport of football just turns into boring background noise. And let's not forget the delicious, almost breathtaking irony of Rex Ryan trying to lecture anyone about humility when his own coaching career was practically a reality show in and of itself. Michael Irvin's raw, unbridled passion in that moment was so hilarious precisely because it was so real. It was not scripted, and it was certainly not polite. It was raw, it was electric, and it was coming straight from a man who knows exactly what it takes to have that kind of fire burning inside of you. You could see it all on his face, that perfect combustible mix of pride, of defiance, and of a pure, unadulterated love for the entertainment of it all. And you absolutely cannot blame Michael Irvin for going full gladiator in that moment. He had spent decades of his own career being misunderstood by the exact same tired, old-school mindset that is now sitting in judgment of Shedeur. To Michael Irvin, this was never just about one single celebration. It was about the fundamental freedom to express one's own greatness without ever being told to tone it down.
The truth is, guys, a lot of people in power didn't like it. Rex Ryan just said out loud what folks has been thinking. Rex Ryan is a paid employee, shows are scripted. So somebody wrote that down and told him to say it. Do you think Shedeur Sanders' confidence is still hurting him? Or is the league just being too sensitive?
He said mostly all the right things since he's been in Cleveland. Here would be my question. When Rex Ryan says, get your ass in the front row and shut up, and if I know the entire league knows,
And after Michael Irvin's on-air explosion had finally subsided, you could almost hear a collective, relieved sigh from fans everywhere, all of whom have been growing tired of the NFL's no-fun brigade. Finally, someone had said what everyone else was already thinking: just let the players be themselves, because in today's modern sports world, a player's personality is now a fundamental part of the game. Kids no longer just memorize the stats, they are now mimicking the celebration, they are following the swagger, not the spreadsheets, and Michael Irvin gets that. He understands that charisma is what builds a real and lasting connection with the fans, and that is the one simple thing that Rex Ryan had completely and totally missed. By the next morning, the clips of Michael Irvin's impassioned rant were trending absolutely everywhere, and Rex, deep down, he had just gotten completely and utterly cooked. Because Michael Irvin did not just win the argument, he had successfully turned it into a full-blown movement. And now every single time someone dares to criticize Shedeur for celebrating, there is a brand new phrase that is floating around the internet: pull a Michael Irvin. And the translation of that phrase is simple: go off, defend the energy, preach the gospel of confidence. And here is the truly funny part: the whole chaotic incident has now actually made Shedeur's own brand even bigger, because the more that people talked about his miming, the more his name spread. And what was originally intended to be a harsh and damaging criticism had now been completely and totally transformed into a massive wave of free marketing. In the span of a single on-air segment, he had gone from being merely controversial to being certifiably cultural.
Now, you wouldn't be out here hating for clicks now, Rex, would you? Please tell me it ain't so, Rex. Because I would hate, you used to be a nice defensive mind. You used to be one of those defensive coordinators players love to play for. But you seem confused right now, Rex. What's going on with you?
Even a host of former players started to chime in on the debate, with most of them siding squarely with Michael Irvin, all of them saying that they love the supreme confidence and the raw electric energy that the young Shedeur Sanders brings to the game. They all see what Rex Ryan clearly does not, that this new generation is not in any way disrespecting the game, they are simply reinventing how it is celebrated. It is not arrogance, it is artistry. And Michael Irvin had just made that point crystal clear with every single one of his dramatic on-air hand gestures, with every one of his emphatic theatrical pauses, and with every single one of his chest-thumping, heartfelt declarations that all sounded as if they should have ended with a massive display of fireworks. What makes Michael Irvin's rant so truly legendary is the fact that it was not just empty noise, it was the unvarnished truth, and it was delivered in the single most entertaining way that is humanly possible. He made you laugh, he made you nod in agreement, and he made you think, and all the while he was completely and utterly dismantling Rex Ryan's entire flimsy and outdated argument. Even those who had initially sided with Rex were now being forced to admit that Michael Irvin had made some sense, because confidence is a part of the competition, and swagger does not kill a player's focus. It fuels it, and that is exactly what Shedeur Sanders so perfectly and completely embodies. Every single one of his moves, every single one of his celebrations is a display of carefully crafted and cultivated confidence. He knows that the spotlight is always on him, and instead of shrinking away from it, he shines in it. And that is what Michael Irvin was so passionately defending. Not arrogance, but ownership. Rex Ryan might not get it now, but someday he will look back and he will realize that Michael Irvin was not just yelling, he was protecting the very spark that keeps this entire sport alive.
Rex Ryan is a guy that been in the locker room. He's been a coach, he's been a player, he's been in the locker room. So he knows better. He knows better. He knows that confidence breeds confidence, especially with quarterbacks. He knows, being in the NFL, that you have men that pay their bills put their life and body on the line with the belief that they're...
Because let's be honest, absolutely nobody tunes in to watch quiet quarterbacks who act like pre-programmed robots. We love the moments that make us talk, that make us argue, and that make us replay the clips 1,000 times over. Shedeur gives us that. Michael Irvin knows that. And maybe, just maybe, deep down, even Rex Ryan does. Though he will never ever admit it on camera. The best part of all of this? Michael Irvin didn't just defend Shedeur. He reminded the entire league that football is at its core entertainment. And if we can't have a little bit of that fire, then what is the point? As the debate continues to echo online, one thing is now certain. Rex Ryan may have started a conversation, but Michael Irvin finished it with style, with volume, and with enough raw charisma to light up the national power grid. And Shedeur? He is probably somewhere, just laughing and practicing his next touchdown celebration, while the rest of the world is busy arguing about what confidence really looks like. Because in this story, one thing is now crystal clear. Swagger is not the problem, it is the product. Michael Irvin didn't just destroy him in that debate, he completely redefined the meaning of the word defense, because the real game was not played on the football field that day, it was played in that television studio. And Michael Irvin walked away with the ultimate undisputed W. And now the next time someone tells Shedeur Sanders to calm down, the entire internet has one simple, unified answer. Tell it to Irvin.
Chill. Chill. I know you know football. Not challenging the fact if you know the game, obviously you coach the game. Not challenging that, but your ideology is way off base on this one. You saying that like you did every day at practice. You saying that like you know firsthand that he's not sitting up front, that he's not doing what it takes, that he's not staying after practice, that he's not pulling up before practice. You're saying that like you in the know in all of this. You're saying that like he's sitting around the locker room pouting.
When the playmaker defends you, it's not just simple protection, it's a full-blown prophecy. And that perhaps is the most deliciously ironic part of it all. Rex Ryan thought he was there to lecture everyone on discipline, but instead, he ended up unwittingly giving Michael Irvin the perfect platform to deliver a masterclass in raw, unbridled passion. It was the strategic equivalent of setting up a free throw drill for Kobe Bryant and then wondering why you never touched the ball again. Michael Irvin didn't just win the argument, he put it on a highlight reel. Every single sentence he uttered sounded like it should have been accompanied by slow-motion replays and deafening crowd sound effects. And what made his performance so legendary wasn't just the heat, it was the heart behind it. Irvin wasn't just arguing to prove that he was right, he was defending the very soul of football swagger. You could practically see Rex Ryan physically retreat in his chair mid-debate, just nodding along as Irvin's voice climbed into pure motivational speech territory. By the end, Irvin wasn't even talking to Rex anymore. His message had transcended the argument. He was now talking to every single young athlete who was watching, powerfully reminding them that confidence is not disrespect, it is a part of their DNA. The segment may have ended, but the echoes of it certainly did not. The fans were replaying it like it was a championship game, and Shedeur, he did not need to say a single word. Michael Irvin had said it all for him, and in the process he had completely transformed what could have been another dull, predictable debate into a singular, powerful moment that reminded everyone why we love this game. Not for its rules, not for its restraint, but for its raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic fire.